Have you ever wondered why the more kind you are, the more people seem to mistreat you? Have you ever gone out of your way to help someone, only to find that they repay your kindness with disrespect? My friend, you are not alone, and today I want to reveal to you a hard truth that few are willing to say out loud. There is a dangerous misunderstanding about kindness in this world. We are taught that if we are good to others, they will be good to us. But reality often proves otherwise. Many of you have experienced this. You've given without hesitation, sacrificed without complaint, and yet, instead of gratitude, you receive neglect, betrayal, or even mockery. Why? Because kindness without wisdom is seen as weakness. And let me tell you something. This is not what true kindness is meant to be. There is a right way and a wrong way to be kind. You see, there is a difference between kindness and surrender, a difference between humility and allowing yourself to be walked over. And today I want to show you how to be strong in kindness, how to love others without losing yourself. Stay with me, because by the end of this message you will learn how to be kind in a way that commands respect rather than invites disrespect. You will see how true kindness, firm, wise, and strong, can transform the way people treat you. Let us begin. Would you like me to continue the full speech? Kindness is often celebrated as one of the greatest virtues a person can have. From childhood we are taught to be kind, to share, to be patient, and to give without expecting anything in return. We hear phrases like, treat others how you want to be treated, and believe that if we pour love, generosity, and goodwill into the world, it will return to us in the same measure. And while that is a beautiful ideal, reality does not always work that way. Many of you know this firsthand. You have given and given only to be left empty. You have been patient only to be tested further. You have forgiven only to be hurt again. And at some point, you start to wonder, why does my kindness invite mistreatment instead of appreciation? The truth is, kindness alone is not enough. In a perfect world, every act of kindness would be met with gratitude and respect, but we do not live in a perfect world. We live in a world where people test limits. When you are kind without boundaries, when you offer your time, your energy, and your love freely without discernment, some will see it as an opportunity to take advantage of you. They will mistake your kindness for weakness, your patience for permission, your humility for submission. And without realizing it, you begin to enable their behavior. Consider the person who always says yes, who never speaks up, who constantly sacrifices their own needs for the sake of others. At first, people admire their kindness. They appreciate the help, the generosity, the willingness to serve. But over time, something changes. Instead of being seen as a blessing, they become an expectation. Instead of receiving gratitude, they are taken for granted. Their time is no longer valued because they have given it away too freely. Their opinions are no longer respected because they never speak up. Their presence is no longer appreciated because people assume they will always be there no matter how they are treated. This is where kindness becomes a trap. It is not that kindness itself is the problem, but kindness without strength, without wisdom, without boundaries. Some believe that to be truly kind, they must endure anything, accept anything, tolerate anything. But that is not true kindness. True kindness is not about being passive. It is about being intentional. It is about knowing when to give and when to withhold, when to help and when to step back, when to forgive and when to walk away. There is a reason why even the strongest and wisest leaders throughout history understood the balance between compassion and authority. They knew that love without discipline leads to chaos, that mercy without justice invites disorder, that kindness without respect turns into exploitation. And so, if you have ever wondered why your kindness has led to disrespect, perhaps it is time to ask yourself, have I been kind with wisdom, or have I been kind without limits? Kindness is one of the most powerful forces in the world, but it is often misunderstood. Many believe that to be kind means to always be agreeable, to never push back, and to always put others before themselves. They assume that being kind means being soft, silent, and endlessly forgiving, no matter how they are treated. But there is a critical difference between true kindness and weakness, and if you do not recognize it, you will find yourself being used, ignored, and even disrespected by the very people you are trying to help. True kindness comes from strength, not from a lack of it. It is a conscious choice to treat others with love, respect, and generosity, even when it is not convenient. Weakness, on the other hand, is when kindness is driven by fear. Fear of confrontation, fear of rejection, fear of losing approval. When kindness is rooted in weakness, it stops being kindness and starts becoming people-pleasing. And the problem with people-pleasing is that it never truly satisfies others and always costs you more than you intended to give. People can sense the difference. When someone is truly kind, their kindness is firm, unwavering, and intentional. They give because they want to, not because they feel they have to. They help others without losing themselves in the process. But when someone is kind out of weakness, their kindness comes with hesitation, anxiety, and an unspoken desperation to be liked. They tolerate mistreatment, hoping that their patience will earn them love. They stay silent when they should speak up, thinking that their silence will keep the peace. But instead of being appreciated, they find themselves overlooked, mistreated, and disrespected. If you have ever felt like the more kind you are, the less people respect you, it may be because your kindness has been mistaken for passivity. You may have thought that by always saying yes, you were being loving, but in reality, you were teaching people that your time, your energy, and even your dignity were not worth protecting. You may have believed that by never expressing your needs, you were being selfless. But in reality, you were allowing others to believe that your needs did not matter. True kindness does not mean allowing yourself to be walked over. It does not mean tolerating disrespect, avoiding difficult conversations, or sacrificing your own well-being to keep others comfortable. True kindness is knowing when to say no, when to set boundaries, and when to walk away from those who refuse to respect you. It is understanding that love without strength is not love, it is surrender. When you start to recognize the difference between kindness and weakness, everything changes. You stop seeking approval and start seeking truth. You stop allowing others to dictate your worth and start defining it for yourself. You learn that being kind does not mean being passive. It means being wise, being firm, and being willing to stand up for what is right, even when it is difficult. At first glance, saying yes seems like an act of kindness. It makes people happy. It keeps the peace. It allows you to be seen as someone who is generous, reliable, and easy to get along with. But what happens when saying yes becomes a habit, even when it costs you? What happens when you say yes, not because you want to, but because you feel like you have to? The truth is, always saying yes is not kindness. It is self-neglect. And over time, it leads to being taken for granted, disrespected, and even manipulated by others. People can sense when you are willing to sacrifice yourself to please them. They may not always take advantage of you intentionally, but human nature is predictable. When something is easily available, people stop valuing it. If you never say no, if you never set limits, if you never stand up for yourself, then people begin to assume that your time is not valuable, that your effort is not significant, and that your presence is guaranteed no matter how they treat you. You might have experienced this before. You help a friend once and they are grateful. You help them again and they appreciate it. But after the 10th time, they start expecting it. They stop saying thank you. They assume you will always be there. And one day, when you finally say no, they react with shock, frustration, or even anger. Why? Because you trained them to believe that your needs did not matter, that your kindness had no boundaries, and that you would always comply no matter what. The danger of always saying yes is that it does not just affect how others treat you, it affects how you see yourself. The more you ignore your own needs, the more you start to believe that they are not important. The more you put others first, the more you start to feel guilty when you finally try to put yourself first. And before you know it, you become exhausted, resentful, and emotionally drained, yet unable to break free from the cycle. Saying no does not make you selfish. It does not make you unkind. In fact, the ability to say no is one of the greatest acts of self-respect, and ironically, it makes your kindness even more valuable. When you start saying no to the things that drain you, you have more energy to say yes to the things that truly matter. When you start setting boundaries, people begin to respect your time, your effort, and your presence. And when you learn that you do not have to please everyone, you finally give yourself the freedom to live with dignity, purpose, and peace. Life has a way of testing you, pushing you, and seeing how far you will go before you finally say, enough. People, circumstances, and even your own fears will challenge your limits. And how you respond determines whether you are respected or taken for granted. You see, the world does not automatically honor kindness. It tests it. It watches to see whether your kindness comes from strength or from fear, whether you have the courage to stand your ground or whether you will bend under pressure. And if you are not careful, if you do not recognize when you are being tested, you will find yourself in a cycle of being used, overlooked, and disrespected. Think about it. When someone asks you for a favor and you say yes, what happens next? At first, they may appreciate it. But if you never refuse, if you never set a boundary, the requests keep coming. People push a little further each time, watching to see how much you will tolerate. They show up late, knowing you will wait. They ignore your feelings, knowing you will stay. They expect more and give less because you have never given them a reason to do otherwise. And before you know it, what once felt like kindness now feels like a burden. And the people you once helped no longer see you as a person to respect, but as a resource to use. This is why those who set boundaries are often treated with more respect than those who give endlessly. It is not because they are unkind. It is because they have made it clear that their kindness is a choice, not an obligation. When you establish limits, you communicate that your time, your energy, and your well-being matter. And when people see that you value yourself, they begin to value you too. But the moment you allow people to cross your limits without consequence, they learn that your kindness has no cost. They learn that they can demand without gratitude, take without giving, and disrespect without consequence. And it is not always done maliciously. Sometimes it happens simply because people will take what is offered freely without considering the weight of it. That is why it is your responsibility to teach people how to treat you. So if you have ever wondered why you feel drained, why people seem to take advantage of your kindness, why your efforts go unappreciated, the answer may be simple. The world has tested your limits, and you have not enforced them. But the good news is, you can change that. You can decide today that your kindness will no longer be mistaken for weakness. You can show love without allowing yourself to be mistreated. And when you do, you will see that the right people, Those who truly respect you will remain, while those who only sought to use you will fade away. Kindness, when rooted in truth, is one of the most powerful forces in the world. But kindness without wisdom, without strength, without discernment often leads to pain. Many people believe that being kind means being endlessly accommodating, always sacrificing, and never standing up for themselves. They confuse kindness with passivity and humility with surrender. But that is not the kind of kindness that leads to honor and respect. True kindness, the kind that is modeled in biblical wisdom, is not about allowing others to mistreat you. It is about standing firm in truth while showing love. Throughout history, the greatest leaders have balanced mercy with authority, compassion with conviction. The Bible itself teaches that love is patient and kind, but it also teaches that wisdom calls for boundaries, for strength, for standing firm in what is right. Jesus himself was the perfect example of this balance. He was full of love, grace, and compassion. Yet he never allowed himself to be manipulated, mistreated, or used without purpose. He served, but he did not surrender to the selfish demands of others. He forgave, but he also spoke truth boldly. He was gentle, yet he turned over the tables of those who dishonored the temple. This is the image of true kindness. Not weakness, but power under control. Many people struggle with being respected because they believe that in order to be loving, they must always say yes, always be available, always put others first, even at the cost of their own well-being. But biblical wisdom teaches the opposite. Proverbs reminds us to guard our hearts, for everything we do flows from them. It teaches that wisdom and discernment must guide our actions, that we should not throw pearls before swine, that we must not allow ourselves to be yoked with those who seek to harm or take advantage of us. Kindness is not an invitation for disrespect. Love is not an excuse for being mistreated. Love is not an excuse for being mistreated. Love is not a negligible trait. We are more than ourselves, and kindness is not an invitation for disrespect. Kindness is not but that is not how respect works. Respect is not given to those who allow themselves to be walked over. It is given to those who carry themselves with dignity. It is given to those who have the courage to say, I love you, but I will not tolerate being mistreated. I care about you, but I will not allow my kindness to be abused. When you apply biblical wisdom to your kindness, everything changes. You stop feeling guilty for setting boundaries. You stop allowing others to dictate your worth. You realize that true kindness is not just about giving, it is about giving wisely, with discernment, with strength. And when you do, you will find that the right people will honor your kindness, while those who sought only to take advantage will no longer have a foothold in your life. Kindness alone is not enough to earn respect. If kindness is given without wisdom, without boundaries, without self-respect, it can be mistaken for weakness. But when kindness is combined with strength, it becomes something powerful, something that commands honor rather than invites mistreatment. The key is not to stop being kind, but to be kind in a way that upholds your dignity and demands respect. People naturally respect those who have clear standards, who set boundaries, and who know their own worth. If you give freely without expectation, if you tolerate disrespect without consequence, if you constantly put others ahead of yourself at your own expense, people will not see that as strength. They will see it as an invitation to take more, not because everyone is malicious, but because human nature tends to push where there is no resistance. But the moment you learn to pair kindness with confidence, everything changes. Think of the people in your life whom you respect the most. Are they pushovers? Are they constantly seeking approval? No. The people who command respect are those who know their own value, who give generously but wisely, who are kind yet firm. They do not allow themselves to be manipulated, and because of that, their kindness is seen as a gift rather than an expectation. Respectable kindness is about knowing when to say yes and when to say no. It is about helping others without allowing yourself to be used. It is about offering love and grace, but also having the courage to stand firm when necessary. When you embrace this kind of kindness, you will notice a shift in how people treat you. Those who only sought to take advantage of your generosity will pull away, but those who truly value you will remain. The world does not reward endless self-sacrifice with respect. It rewards those who know their worth and walk in it. So if you have been wondering why your kindness has led to disrespect, the answer may not be to stop being kind, but to be kind in a way that is rooted in strength. Because when kindness is backed by self-respect, it becomes something undeniable, something that no one can overlook or take for granted. My friend, kindness is a beautiful gift, but only when it is given with wisdom. Too many people mistake kindness for weakness, believing that if they just give more, tolerate more, and endure more, they will eventually be respected. But respect is not given to those who allow themselves to be used. It is given to those who stand firm in their worth. If you have ever felt like your kindness has led to disrespect, it is not because kindness is the problem, but because kindness without boundaries invites mistreatment. The world will test your limits. People will push as far as you allow them. But when you learn to set boundaries, when you learn to pair your kindness with strength, when you learn to say no without guilt and stand firm in your dignity, everything changes. Remember, true kindness is not about pleasing people. It is about loving them in a way that also honors yourself. It is about giving, but giving wisely. It is about being patient, but not being passive. It is about serving, but never at the cost of your self-respect. So as you walk away from this message today, I want you to take this with you. You were not made to be a doormat. You were not created to be used, overlooked, or taken for granted. Your kindness should not come at the price of your dignity. Be kind, but be strong. Be loving, but be wise. And above all, remember that the right people will honor your kindness, while those who seek to take advantage will fade away. Stand firm in your worth, and the world will have no choice but to respect you.